Good morning, everybody. You are listening to K-Talk Radio 1640 AM. This is the show, Utah Home Sweet Home. I am your host, Yoshi Shiraki, and today we have a very special guest, Mike Burns. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today.
What's going on, man? Happy to be here.
Thank you, thank you. So Mike's a friend of mine, and I have the privilege to follow him on Facebook because we're Facebook friends. And Mike kills it. Mike is killing it. I get to see the posts, I get to watch the videos, and I learn a lot from just watching your social media, man.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
It's been a fun process. Kind of, I'm not a real outgoing guy, so going from shaky and making the first video to more of a normal thing now. So I'm glad you like it.
That's great. Yes, I do like it. I do like it a lot. So you guys are in for a special treat because Mike fixes and flips houses. He's built an empire from rental portfolio to lending to being a retail agent. We're going to talk about building the real estate business that he's done and so much more. So you're in for a special treat because Mike has a lot of experience in a lot of different fields, which is why I've asked him to come in to share all of these different things that he's doing with you. If you don't mind though, Mike, you know, right now to share with the listeners, and correct me if there's more, you fix and flip houses, you've got a rental portfolio, you do lending, and you're a retail agent. Is there any other stuff that you do?
No, that's pretty much what we got going on. So.
Okay. So right now you're killing it, but there was a day when you weren't in real estate, right? If you don't mind sharing with us, how did you get your start in real estate and how long ago was that?
So I've been doing real estate full time now probably about 8 years.
Okay.
So I first got my interest in real estate. I grew up small town in California. My dad had a retail nursery and garden center, so I grew up in the nursery world. And when I was a senior in high school, he sold the business and he went out and bought a bunch of lots and then partnered with a contractor that he had known in this small town for a long time, and they had built a bunch of spec homes. So I watched them do pretty good with that and took a bunch of interest when I first saw that. But when you're, 17, 18-year-old kid, it's like getting into real estate doesn't seem real. So
right.
That's when my interest in real estate sparked. And then I was doing sales, traveling all the time, like 6 months out of the year on the road. And my brother asked me if I wanted to go to a free house flipping seminar that weekend if I was going to be in town. It was whatever guru was there. And,
yeah.
So we ended up going to that, and took about a year, got our first deal, 94 offers in a year.
Wow.
Finally got our first deal. And haven't looked back since.
Holy cow, holy cow. So just to elaborate a little bit more, you submitted 94 offers before you bought your first property.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that story because I don't know if you know this, I do public speaking for a couple different educators in the country. And every time I come off stage and these people will come up to me and say, I've submitted 4 offers and I haven't gotten anything. I'm like, sorry, bud. You're gonna need to submit a lot more than 4.
Dude, I remember just kind of a quick little story. On our first offer, I was terrified, and our offer was so low, it was ridiculous, and just sitting there terrified. Like, what are we gonna do if they accept it? Like, we don't have the money. If we're gonna wholesale it, we don't know any. Like, what are we gonna do? And the response back on that first offer was, "What is this? An unwelcome joke?" And I was like, okay. That wasn't that bad, and we just kind of kept going. But once you get that first one out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. I've had those calls. Is this for real or is this a joke? No, it's real. Why, they don't like it?
Yeah, and I mean, secretly we're sitting there like, don't accept it, because what are we going to do if they say yes?
Right. I remember those days. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so what excites you most in real estate? I call real estate kind of the 31 flavors Baskin Robbins, right? I mean, when you say you're in real estate, saying I love real estate, it's kind of like saying I love ice cream, but which flavor do you love? Because when I go to Baskin Robbins, it's mint chocolate chip, right? For me, in real estate, it's flipping.
Uh-huh.
How about you? What's your favorite flavor? What excites you most in real estate?
I mean, in my heart, I'm an investor. I love the investing side. That's where I started. That's where a big chunk of our business is.
Mm-hmm.
So on the investing side, nothing gets me more excited and juiced than inking a deal when we go buy it. So when I put a deal together, when we're buying something, that gets me just the most amped. And then the rehab, that's cool, that's fun. We sell it on the back end, we make money, whatever. But like my blood gets going when I'm inking that deal.
Nice.
On the front side. And then on the retail side, I really enjoy when I'm handing keys to a new homeowner, and especially first-time homeowners. We just did it earlier this week. It was a referral from longtime clients of mine, their little brother. We got him a house up in Ogden. We helped him with the loan too, but you know, first home, 0 down payment, just literally watching us create a dream come true for them and give them their keys and those huge smiles, like that's pretty cool too.
That is cool. That is cool. I totally agree. For me, I love the first day of renovation, like when I show up with my contractors and we're trying to figure out what walls we're going to blow out.
Yeah.
You know, that's where my creative juices come out, and that's where I get the most excited. But I do love hearing that. Yeah, you know, the email come in, congratulations, you're under contract.
Yep.
If I'm buying it from somebody on, you know, that's represented by an agent. Obviously, if it's face to face at a kitchen table, then I'm knowing right there, which is exciting too. So, if you don't mind sharing with us, speaking about finding these deals, inking them up, what just so listeners out there that have always seen, you see these shows, Flip This House, Fixer Upper, where they're already owning the home, but very rarely does it show you how they find the home. And there's lots of ways to find it, but typically, what tends to be the way that you guys are finding most of your deals?
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, finding the deal is the hardest part, especially in the investing world. Like finding the deal is for sure the hardest part. Relationships. I mean, I've built my entire business on relationships. So we've got, we buy from wholesalers. We have agents that bring us deals. We'll find stuff off the MLS. We'll find stuff off market on our own, just knocking doors, sending letters. See a vacant house, put a sign, a note on the front door. Hey, we'd like to buy this. And we'll get referrals once in a while, from people that just know we're in the business, and that's what we do. So I'm fishing in any and every pond I can find.
Very cool. Very cool. And what I loved about all those places that you find it, I had a mentor once tell me, if the MLS is kind of like the lake that you get to drive your truck up to, unpack your cooler, unpack your tent, unpack your barbecue, and everybody fishes there because it's the easiest place to fish. And that's why there's most competition there, because everyone's fishing there. But if you're willing to put the backpack on and go upstream, which is the door knocking you talked about, the mailers, you're going to have less competition to find those opportunities. So I'm always telling people that how do you find these deals? You got to look everywhere, not just the MLS, because I think most people when they get started, that's all they look is the MLS, until they're educated to look at elsewhere.
Yeah, and the MLS is just so competitive, so even if you do see a deal on the MLS and you happen to get an offer in on it in the first couple hours, there's probably 20 of them already on there. So it's once in a while we'll get lucky and pick something off of there, but it's definitely on the bottom of the totem pole for sure.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So you've got a team, and I know a few people on your team, but do you mind talking a little bit about your team, how many people help you run this business that you have, kind of the roles that everybody has? I know your wife is involved, and I know your brother might be involved. Do you do stuff with your brother?
We're the Burns team, baby.
Okay.
I got me, I got my wife, my brother, and my mom now too is actually working with us. So
nice.
We're the Burns team. On the investing side, I pretty much run that on my own. I got 6 full-time crews that are doing the rehab stuff.
Wow.
So I'm finding the deals, dealing with our investors, our private money guys, relationships with everyone there, managing the projects. On the retail side, we have a full-time assistant just doing transaction coordinating and marketing stuff, and then my wife Kia and my mom Janice, they both are working with our buyers mostly.
Awesome.
On the listing side, I'll go do the listing appointments and kind of get everything teed up, and then they'll take it from there.
Yep.
And then on the lending side, my brother he runs all the back end stuff there, and then we have a loan officer assistant there as well.
Very cool.
And we're hiring too, so I'll throw that out there. We're looking for good people.
Awesome. You heard it right here, guys. If you're looking to, what are you looking for before everyone starts calling you?
I'm looking for good people. I think you can train, you can train skills, but you can't train, attitude, work ethic, integrity. So we're hiring people, and then we can, if you have skills, that's great too. But just in general, I'd rather, I'm focused on the person that we want to grow with.
Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. Okay. You and I have talked briefly about mindset. I'm a huge believer in mindset. You shared with me that you work with some coaches. You know, almost everybody who I speak to who plays at an elite level has coaches. And in real estate. And if you take it to like professional athletes, they all have a coach, right?
100%.
And I always get visually I can see Al Pacino's face and Robert De Niro's face, but I always get their stories mixed up. They're kind of one guy in my head for whatever reason. One of them, I can't remember if it was De Niro or Al Pacino, had shared that they have an acting coach. I mean, these two, whoever it is, are one of the best actors, you know, of all time. Yet they still have a coach in acting, and you'd think, well, do they still need it? Of course they do. Tiger Woods still needs it. You know, LeBron James still needs a coach. I feel that as young, you know, as children, we grow up with mentors or teachers or coaches, right?
Yeah.
And then we hit an age where we stop using them, which I think is the biggest mistake that as a society we don't realize. We just stop using coaches. And then at some point some of us realize, shoot, if I'm going to get to a higher level, I need somebody. Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about your coaching that you go through?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just a saying that sticks out to me is you know you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, and so having that outside perspective, you know, even guys like you said that are at the top of their game, the best of the best, they still need that outside perspective to see stuff that they're not going to be able to see.
Right.
Not saying that's me, but it's just something that, you know, it's a saying that I've just stuck with me.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of different coaching and stuff, heavy on sales. So, you know, like I followed Grant Cardone for a long time, and that really built my sales. I have a guy named Albert Preciado out of LA who has an extremely successful real estate and mortgage business. So I do one-on-one coaching with him for the real estate and the mortgage stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then I'm part of what's called the Arte Syndicate, which is led by Ed Milet and Andy Frisella. And they're, you know, I mean, they're both worth $500 million. And
right.
Have dozens of successful companies. And part of that group, it's not only the coaching, but also the network that you're involved with, you know. So some of these groups I'm a part of, you're getting the content and the coaching and stuff, but also your network is your net worth. And one of the biggest things that's helped me grow faster is to put myself around people that are further down the road than I am, because then I'm getting pulled up just by being around them. And then recently I just joined a real estate specific mastermind. It's 40 guys from across the country specifically on real estate.
Awesome.
We get together 4 times a year, and then we got a call once a month. And so I just had my first meeting with them in South Carolina last week, and that's probably the most impactful thing I've done like in the last 5 years. Like,
wow.
Just that first one. So heavy. I spent a lot of time and invest a ton of money. Like I've got a couple master's degrees for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and self-development coaching.
That's awesome. Very cool. So, do you guys meet in South Carolina is it always South Carolina that you'll meet?
No, and that's what's cool about this group. They kind of like, you know, the goal is to go different places, you know, but we kind of want to do like half the time is classroom content learning, and then the other half of the time is relationship building, lifestyle stuff. So on this first one, you know, we did the classroom stuff, learning all of that, and then we went to a nice barbecue place and did a couple bars just hanging out after that. And then on the second day, we actually rented a yacht and cruised around the Charleston Harbor. So it's about the relationships too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I put so much value on relationships, especially, you know, just in general.
Yeah.
Relationships are a big deal to me.
Very cool. I agree with you 100%. You guys travel a lot, meaning you guys being you and your wife. I see the posts on Facebook. Are a lot of those vacations with your laptop open doing work, or a lot of those these masterminds?
Yeah, no, workcation for sure. I'm addicted to it, man. I can't not step away. Like my business is my sport.
Yeah.
So, but no, yeah, Kia and I like to travel. Usually once a quarter we'll go somewhere. We like tropical places. So, you know, we just got back from Mexico last week, actually.
Oh, nice.
It just opened up, so we had to get out and go check it out.
Yeah.
But no, traveling's good. But I mean, in real estate, you know, like, dude, you can't just check out for a week. I mean, you can, but when you got what I got going on,
yeah,
you know, we got a lot of people relying on me, and that's just,
yeah,
I wouldn't feel good doing that. So.
Right. And then the inbox that you'd come back to if you didn't manage it while you were away would be.
Yeah, I mean, I have over 100 unread texts right now on my cell phone.
Right.
You know, so.
Exactly. When did you realize that you loved real estate? Because talking to you, I can see you're passionate about it, right? A lot of people go out and find a living, it makes good money, but they're not passionate about it. I can see you're passionate about real estate. When did you realize, I love this? This is it. I'm going to just kill it from here.
The first flip, prior to that first flip, I had spent 4 years building, I was in the wholesale side of the nursery business because that's what I grew up in. So I went into the wholesale side, and I had this giant exclusive territory as a broker. So I was like selling plants in like Alberta and British Columbia, Canada, and then like 8 states in the western U.S. So I literally got in my car, I had a photo album, and I'd pay my own way, own expenses, commission only.
Yeah.
Drove around, like, you know, cold calling nurseries and garden centers and like, hey, can I talk to the owner, the buyer, or whatever? I want to, you know, I'm Michael. Yeah. People would ask me, are you even old enough to drive? You know, I was like 21. So I did that whole thing for 4 years and got it up to almost $1 million in sales, and it was rolling pretty good. And I flipped that first house, and I walked away from my business that I spent 4 years building and never looked back. But the thing about real estate that I like is you get a little bit of everything. You know, you get the creative part with the doing the rehab, you get the sales part, and the adrenaline for that. I really like dealing with people, so you just get a lot of everything, and there's a lot of action. Like I like the action.
Yeah. That makes sense. Absolutely. And you get to really, truly make your own hours, right? Like, you and I are both, we've talked about this discussion, we're night owls.
Yep. Yeah, we're on the night team.
Yeah, we're on the night team. We'd rather work till 1, 2 in the morning and then wake up at 9, where everybody's waking up at 6, you know, but going to bed at 10 kind of a thing. I watched an interview with Sylvester Stallone. He's a night owl too. I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
He wrote Rocky in the middle of the night.
Really?
Yeah, and he says that's when his creative juices flow the most, is in the middle of the night. And so he's a night owl, gets a lot of his work done throughout the night, and kind of, you know, according to that, when I watched that interview, he's not an early riser necessarily. I guess he has to be if he has to be on set, but by nature, he's a night owl as well. And there's a lot of articles that I've read where it's a real thing, right? Some people genuinely get more creative at night. I read an article that talks about you should sleep with a notepad on your nightstand, because if you are laying in bed and you're that guy, ideas come in, you hurry and jot it down and just lay back down.
Dude, I don't even know how many $1 million ideas I lost in my sleep, you know, because I'd say I'm up till 2:33. I work out at night, so then, you know, most people, they work out in the morning and they start their day and they're all amped and stuff, so I work out at night, and then I just kind of, you know, my mind's going. But no, I can't even tell you how many emails I send to myself, you know, 2, 3 in the morning.
Nice.
Or people we work with, like our title lady, Christina, she always jokes because, you know, she'll have like 2:30, 3 a.m. emails, and so I get comments about that a lot. But one of my mentors, Andy Frisella, who runs Arte, he's a night guy too. He stays up till 2, 3 in the morning.
Got it. Awesome. All right, so we're going to be talking about the nightmare stories. Time for a commercial break. You guys are not going to want to go away, because Michael's got some good stories.
Yeah, the question is, like, which one do you want to talk about? We should just throw a dart at the board and pick one, because there's a lot.
Right, exactly. I've got many myself. So we're going to be talking about the nightmare story, the lesson that can be learned from it. You're not going to want to step away, because I find these nightmare stories to be very, very valuable. Every guest that comes on my show tells one, but they also share the lesson they learned from it, because if we can learn from other people's mistakes, that's going to save us a lot of time and money and heartache.
A ton.
Yeah. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. With smartphones and technology making life a little easier, the Snap Leash has also been designed to make life a little easier for you and your pup. Whether you're out on a stroll in the park, or possibly a walk through the city, or maybe even a hike up in the mountains, the Snap Leash is the perfect leash for you. The Snap Leash can easily and conveniently convert into 7 types of leashes, making the Snap Leash the most convenient leash in the world. Whether a leash do you know that is 7 leashes in one? with the Snapleash having appearances on the Today Show in New York City, TV 47 in Dallas, Texas, and ABC 4 right here on Midday, Utah. You are definitely going to want to take a peek at what the Snapleash can do for you and your best friend. Make life a little easier for you and your pup. And visit www.snapleash.com today. All right, guys, you are listening to K-Talk Radio, 1640 AM. This is the show Utah Home Sweet Home. Our special guest is Mike Burns today. It is Nightmare Story Time. I prefer to learn from other people's mistakes if I can.
Save you some money.
Yeah, exactly. You know Trevor Thompson, of course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Trevor and I, there was a time where I was officing over at their office, Randall, Josh, and Trevor. And Trevor and I would exchange nightmare stories because we wanted to learn from the other person's experience. Go, oh, I would have never thought that would have happened. Thank you for sharing. And so I find this part of the show extremely valuable because we don't know what we don't know, and that's usually where a nightmare will happen, right? And then we know to avoid that moving forward. So if you don't mind sharing, maybe we'll do a couple because we talked briefly before the show started. I know of one about the driveway, but we don't have to start there. I think you mentioned you had one in Atlanta and one, your first one, if that's okay. Do you want to pick one of those?
Or if you want, we can start with the driveway, like whatever one you want to start with.
Okay, let's start with the driveway because I'm kind of curious.
It's probably the most famous one since it was on the news and everything.
It made the local news. Now it's making local radio.
I know.
Yeah. So please tell us about it.
So we had this flip. It was in the Salt Lake area, and a lot of things went wrong with this house. Like basement flooded, failed a meth test, failed a radon test, but that was all the easy stuff. So it was listed on the market, and Key and I actually were out of town on a trip, and we came back in town, and it had been snowing. And I was in the area, so typically if I'm in the area and I'm close to one of our flips that's listed on the market, I'll go check on it just to make sure everything's cool.
Yeah.
So I was in the area and I was, all right, I'm gonna go stop by this house. So I'm pulling up, and as I'm turning, it was a corner house on the corner lot. So as I'm turning in, I'm looking and I'm like, man, the driveway sure is muddy, like the guys just could have like at least like shoveled off the driveway. And then so I get closer and I'm like, what's going on? And then I was like, realized that the driveway was gone, like a 75-foot long by 12-foot wide driveway. It was totally gone. So I'm getting there closer and I'm like trying to process what I'm seeing. This house is done, we put like $65,000 into it. It's been on the market for a couple weeks. And I get out and I'm just looking at it, and it's like professionally demoed, like saw cut on the sidewalk, like ripped out. We got, a 12 to 18 inch gap, all the way back to the garage. I was so blown away that I didn't even get upset, and I'm like usually a pretty quick trigger dude, and I was just didn't even know what to like think or that, So anyways, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I go across the street, ask the neighbors, like, hey, have you guys seen anyone, over there? And they're like, oh yeah, for about 2.5 days, the guys were over there taking out the driveway. And I was like, did you happen to see any trucks or any company names or anything? They're like, no, you guys have been here for a few months. We just figured, we thought it was weird that you were ripping the driveway out because it seemed to be pretty good. It looked pretty nice, and we noticed it was for sale. We thought that was kind of weird, and I was like, yeah, so if you ever see that again, a phone call for sure. Dude.
Yeah.
So, I drove the area trying to see, like if there was any concrete work going on, but I mean, I think they just hit the wrong house, and owned up to it. But we flipped a lot of houses. I've been doing this, 8 or 9 years, and that's definitely the strangest thing I've experienced so far.
The strangest thing I've ever heard of all our friends and anybody I know who flips houses.
Yeah, so one of the neighbors, like on our side of the street, a few houses down, so we're like going and talking to the neighbors, seeing if anyone had, cameras on their like Ring doorbell or whatever, trying to see if we could figure out who did it. And she was so upset about it. And upset that I told her the police told us that it's not vandalism, and so that was going to affect the insurance claim situation too. So she ends up calling the news. So I'm out there trying to figure it out, and then the news rolls up and they want to do a story. So we end up being on the news. Never found the driveway, sold the house, and here we are.
No way! Did you pour a new one?
Yeah, we had to pour a new one. So the whole thing cost us about like $8,000.
Wow!
But I mean, whoever did that demo job alone, was probably be $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. And
Yeah.
they did a nice job. If I paid them for it, I'd have been happy with it.
Right.
Like, we just weren't looking for that.
Yeah, that's insane. Because I've had the AC units, air conditioning units out be in my flips get stolen, and I'm like, dang it, and they're brand new, and I had to put a new one in. I've had people break into my flips, but when I saw your post, I was like, that's insane. I've never heard of anyone taking a driveway. That's a crazy nightmare story. Any lesson? I mean, I don't know what you could have done different. Any lesson that was learned there?
I mean, I think just my mind, like to go back to a positive and just, my coaching, my training, and working on the mindset, and just not getting upset about it and dwelling on it for a week or whatever. So like, we literally within a couple of days had a new driveway poured, and just trying to reset and deal with the situation. It is what it is at that point. My concrete is gone. So.
Yeah. And I bet that was expensive at the dump, right? Whoever took it to the dump and.
Yeah, I mean, whoever.
75 feet.
Yeah, because I mean, it was perfect. They saw cut it. It was a well done job. So just not at the right house.
Wow. I wonder what went through their mind when they realized, crap, that was the wrong house, because they were probably scheduled to come pour.
Yeah, I'm sure they went to collect a check and realized, oh, whoops.
Yeah, exactly. And the original person who had hired him, like, no, my driveway's still outside. You haven't taken it away yet.
Yeah. So I don't know, crazy situation. So yeah, that's one of them. But speaking of ACs, so the Utah market's been so competitive. We were looking at maybe trying to do some out-of-state stuff. So we ended up buying a flip in Atlanta, and I would take my top 3 worst deals ever again before I did this Atlanta deal.
Got it.
Again, like this. AC, so we'll start with the ACs. I had to put an AC in 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, but this deal, our typical flip, we're in it. We own the house 4 to 6 months. From the time we buy it to the time we close on the back end. We had this thing for 14 and a half months.
Wow.
Everything went wrong. I trusted a guy here in Utah that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. And then I was, there was a boots on the ground partner locally that never showed up and was MIA. So the regular photos and videos that I was told would happen never happened. The contractor that they had quote unquote been working with for a couple years and done dozens and dozens of deals, that was a lie and not true. So I mean, long story short, we had the deal for 14 and a half months. I had to pay for an AC 3 times because it got. The first contractor didn't put it in, and then, or no, he said he put it in and he didn't, and then I had a faulty lien on title from a different HVAC guy that put a AC and furnace in and then never got paid. So
my gosh.
So I paid the first contractor for it, then I had to pay off this lien just to get the home sold that I found out about a week before closing.
Oh jeez.
And then the day before closing, the buyers go do their final walkthrough and the agent sends a photo and the AC was gone. Like,
oh my gosh.
I was probably one of the most defeated feelings. It was a Saturday morning at like 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
My phone's going off, and I see it's an Atlanta number, and like anything Atlanta, I'm just triggered. So I'm answering, like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, the AC's gone," and I was just like, my heart just hit the floor. But yeah, so it was just a bad deal, and then we ended up losing like 40 grand on the deal too.
Oh jeez.
So we thought. You don't know what you don't know, and even though all the comps and everything, I know how to value property pretty well at this point. On paper, everything looked good. I had 3 good comps within a half mile of this house, and I was just in this weird little pocket neighborhood. So we thought we'd sell it for like $280, and we ended up selling it for $216.
Oh wow.
Plus, I had 14 and a half months of hard money, over budget. So I flew out there 3 times. Like, it was just not a good experience.
Wow. Lesson there. If you could do that over, or maybe you just wouldn't do it again.
I would be open to doing an out-of-state deal for sure. Again, we're actually looking at like 206 storage units right now that we're under contract on in Missouri. The thing that I would do is I would suggest or recommend that you have someone that has a vested interest financially in the deal, boots on the ground, local.
Got it.
That have something to lose and some skin in the game. I think if you had that would make a big difference.
Yeah, that makes sense. If they have, like you said, skin in the game, they're gonna try not to lose money either, so
Yeah.
that makes lots of sense. Okay, perfect. And then your very, very first flip.
Yeah, so our first flip, man, talk about green and don't know what you don't know. So
Yeah. It was a high-end flip, right?
No, that was our second one.
Okay.
Which was a nightmare too. We lost 50 grand on the second flip.
I went and checked it out. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, dude, pick which story you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So our first one, we had been writing offers, spent a year, me and my brother, and then going to the local Sloria groups and the local.
That's how we met.
Yeah, the local investor groups. Side note: if you're an investor, new or experienced, like check into your local real estate investor clubs. It's worth the time and effort. So, anyways, we get a call on. Yeah, so I get a call on a Friday afternoon, late afternoon, evening. This dude's like, "Hey, I got this deal. Are you interested in it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, well, here's the thing. It's got to close on Monday, and it's Friday. After hours."
Wow.
I'm like, "Okay, I've never done a deal before, but I'm sitting there. Yeah, man, sure. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll be down there." So I go meet this guy at the house. It's just up the road from where we're at now in Sugar House.
Okay.
And there's probably 18 inches of snow on the ground. So you can't see the yard, can't see anything. So we're walking through the snow. We go up into the house and walk through the house. Everything looks good, And I take this dude's word for it on his ARV.
Yeah.
I take his word for it on the repairs. Like, I have no idea what stuff costs,
right.
know? And this guy's done some deals before, and for whatever reason, their money fell out, or the buyer fell out. I think he was a wholesaler.
Got it.
So I'm just like literally listening to his numbers, his plan, and I'm like, yeah, sounds good. I just want to do a deal so bad.
Yeah,
a year, right?
Right.
So we just so happened the week before that there was like they used to do the quarterly seminars at Soria.
Oh yeah.
And I had met this guy named Gary, and he had just sold his business, a year before that or whatever, and he was looking to start lending some private hard money. And kind of a quieter, timid guy, and I was just hanging out, building relationships, do what I do, and ended up talking with him and his wife. And we had just so happened to set a meeting with them to have lunch on Saturday.
Oh wow.
The same day, like that afternoon, the days that I'm looking at this deal. So I tell the guy, hey man, I'll get back to you. Let me look into it. just acting like I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this is even going to happen. I'm going to close the deal on Monday.
Right.
It's Saturday. So I wrap that meeting up with the guy, and then we go to lunch, and it's me and my brother, and my brother just had his kid. So I'm like, dude, bring Nigel. That's my nephew. He's like 8 months old. I'm like, bring him to the meeting. We need to look.
Yeah.
We need some sympathy play here. So we have the meeting with. His name is Gary and his wife, and I wussed out. I didn't even bring up the deal. So we have an hour meeting. And then we're like literally getting up, shaking hands. All right, we'll stay in touch. And he's like, well, let us know if you have anything. And we're literally up, and we're leaving the booth.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we actually have a deal right now. I just spew it out. We have a deal, because it was like now or never moment.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you do? Well, let's hear about it. And I'm like, yeah. So we sit back down, and I'm like, here's the deal, but it has to close on Monday. And he's like looking at me. He's not done a private money loan before. I've never done a flip before. And they're like, well, so I tell him the details of it, and he's like, okay, well, let us think about it.
Yeah.
So he calls me like, I don't know, an hour and a half later, and he's like, Michael, we're going to take a big risk on you, and we're going to do this deal. And he funded the deal on Monday.
Wow.
And like even today, I've done a lot of deals, and I got tons of access of like funding a deal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure to notice would be tough now.
Right.
So anyways, bought the deal. We hired a contractor. We interviewed a few. We ended up hiring this general contractor, and he was like 8 weeks behind schedule. He took 3 vacations during the project.
Oh.
Like it was, you'd show up, no one was working for a week, and I'm, a young dude. I was, I don't know, 23 at the time, 24 at the time, and he's this older guy, kind of thinking he can push me around. So then finally, we're way over schedule, and then he comes to me and he's like, hey, there's going to be an extra 16 grand that you owe me. And I'm like, dude, like there's a contract. We didn't talk about any change orders. And he's like, well, I was trying to help you out. I'm like, well, you can't be helping me out and spending my money without my permission at the same time. So which one is it? Like you're helping me, So we go back and forth, and I have said, dude, get off the property. Like you're not welcome back here. Like you're done. I'm going to have someone else finish it. So then he leaves, and me and him meet like a week later in the parking lot at Einstein's Bagels, and he basically is like, you're gonna give me this money or I'm gonna put a lien on the house. Again, I'm green, brand new. I'm like, okay, I'm not giving you money, dude. Like, screw you. It was, not that nice, but anyways. So fast forward it, we put the house on the market, like end up finishing the project, put the house on the market. We end up selling it, and the market was going up, so we got lucky. But this lien was still on the title of the property. So then we get the appraisal, comes back for the buyers, and then the underwriter requests a second appraisal, because that was when they had the whole 90-day FHA rule. So then the second appraisal comes in, and it comes in lower than the first one. So now I'm having to understand as a new investor why I have to lower the purchase price because of this second appraisal, and why is there even a second appraisal?
Right.
So now we're having to lower the purchase price, and then now we can't close this deal because I have this faulty lien. So then we get our attorney Jeff, who we all know, and he sends a letter. So then we spend 2 weeks going back and forth with this contractor, and he's like trying to negotiate with me.
Yeah.
Then the contractor gets in an accident, and he's in the hospital. He says he was on life support, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but he's in the hospital now. I'm trying to sell this house that I can't sell. We have to lower the price. We're like way over budget and timelines at this point. So fast forward, we go back and forth, and it comes down to us like, basically, we're going to start a lawsuit against you. He finally drops the lien, but we were able to close the deal, and then title just held 1.5 times the amount of the lien. So we sold the house, and then we just didn't get any money for a while, and then finally we got that whole thing done. We made 24 grand on the deal.
Nice.
We got so lucky, dude. Like we did everything wrong. The only thing that went right was the market went up for us.
Right.
So we made 24,000 on that. So it ended up being a good deal. We did the landscaping ourselves and a lot of stuff ourselves, and never looked back. We closed that deal. I walked away from my other business, rolled into our second flip that we lost 50 grand on, and then we lost like 12,000 on our third one. So the first 18 months was just like real rough.
Gotcha. I mean, sometimes that's the best learning experiences, though, right? I mean, you probably learned more in those 18 months than you did probably the 3 years after that.
Well, and who you become to get through those, and when you go through, especially that second deal where we lost 50 grand and it took me like 6 months to pay my dad back some money I borrowed. When you go through that and you get out on the other side and you realize, do a pulse check and you survive, you made it through, like just that growth you have and the confidence you build within yourself, like you can't put a dollar value on that.
Yeah.
So every loss that I've had on deals have actually catapulted me forward in a weird roundabout way.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say that looking back. When you're going through it, it's like, man, this sucks, but
right.
On the other side, it's always actually been a blessing in a weird way.
Yeah, and now, I mean, the last time we chatted about what you were doing was at a Slurry event probably 9-10 months ago. You had 12 renovations, 12 flips going on at that moment. So, I mean, you've grown dramatically, because that's not common, and that people will have that many flips going on at one given moment.
Yeah.
So, what's your average, if you don't mind sharing, that you typically will have? You said 6 crews, so you've had a lot of deals.
Right now, I have 16 flips.
Wow.
And that's, some of them are listed on the market, some of them are mid-rehab, some of them we just closed on. Like, we bought 5 houses this week, which was a huge week for us. So, but on average, I say we probably have between 10 and 15 at a time.
That's awesome.
And they're at different stages, but I think the most, like, under construction at once was 9 or 10.
Got it.
That's that's a lot of headbanging for sure.
Right. Very cool. So I feel my nightmare stories are one of the best lessons that I've ever had, as far as real estate investing. I learned more on those than the ones that I killed it and made a great profit on. The ones you make a great profit tend to give you all this false confidence sometimes that you know everything, and then the next one humbles you.
When things go good and you're on a roll, it's really easy to kind of get that going.
Yeah.
And those were the investing ones. The ones that are, get real mentally tough to deal with is on the retail side.
Yeah.
When you got stuff going sideways on a mortgage or on like a real estate transaction that you're the agent on, and people's lives are affected by it, those will keep you up at night too, when you just...
Absolutely.
And you'll see the best and the worst of people in a real estate transaction, man, I'll tell you.
Right. I believe it. Okay, so it's time for another commercial break. When we come back, Mike is going to tell us what the average day for Mike Burns looks like. Because I'm curious, because he has a flipping business, a lending business, a rental portfolio, a fixing and flipping business that he has 6 crews that he has to manage. It's probably pretty hectic, so I'm anxious to hear about it. And you guys are definitely not going to want to go away, because I'm sure you're going to learn some valuable stuff from just a simple of what a day looks like from Mike Burns. All right, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Yoshi Shiraki, the author of the book, My Body's Just For Me, the book written for children to educate children on the prevention of child abuse. With the assistance of multiple-time best-selling author Richard Paul Evans, we were able to publish this book as a tool to help break the ice in an easy and innocent way to help children understand and learn how to speak up and communicate. I've been invited numerous times out to Good Things Utah to discuss the importance of good communication with your child in regards to abuse, and also to discuss how the book, My Body's Just For Me, is a great tool for every parent when having that tricky conversation with their children. For more information on the book, My Body's Just For Me, please visit www.protectourangels.com today. And remember, the more we focus on prevention, the less we'll have to focus on rehabilitation. All right, we are back at 1640 AM K-Talk Radio. This is the show Utah Home Sweet Home. I'm your host, Yoshi Shiraki. Our very special guest today is Mike Burns. Shared a lot of great, valuable lessons here in the last segment, but now, as I talked about at the beginning of the show, you're just basically out there killing it. Yeah, maybe a rough beginning, but that rough beginning's definitely made you an all-star today, for sure. And so I'm curious, when I talk to big-time players who run multiple businesses, I'm always curious to see what the average day looks like for that individual. Do you mind sharing about, and we discussed we're night people, you and me happen to be night people, what time you wake up, what time you wake up and what happens from there until the time you go to bed?
So, I usually wake up with Home Depot calling me at whatever time my first guys are getting there to buy stuff. So, like, really, though, that's really usually when I wake up, when my phone starts ringing. I'll probably work from bed, like, the first hour and a half, so I'll roll out of bed about 9:30. So I'm doing emails, texts, phone sales, whatever I'm dealing with.
Yep.
But typically, the night before, I always, when I'm wrapping up my day at 2, 3 in the morning, whenever it is, I'll make my list for stuff that I have to do the following day. And my list is huge every day, so then I just put like a star next to the things that are important, and then if I'm feeling real frisky, I'll put a circle around the stuff that's super important. Like a star with a circle. So
yeah.
That's my list of what I got to do the following day, and then, the priorities that I got to get done. But with, just with everything we have going on, a phone call will change my entire day. So, like most of the time I'm working on the go out of my truck. Like if I can get an office day in, I'm pumped because I'm super productive.
Yeah.
But I just have my list of priorities, and then I just kind of roll through the day trying to knock out my priorities and then taking care of stuff as it comes in. So I might get a call and I got to go look at a deal. And with this competitive market, it's like if I got, the lead on a deal or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm like literally dropping what I'm doing. I'm going, like, I'll look at it real quick to see if it's worth like
Yeah.
running out and looking at it. Or, maybe one of our agent partners calls and, one of their clients needs to get pre-approved and they want to put an offer in on a house like right now.
Yeah.
Or we got, so a lot of reactionary stuff, and then I'm just trying to focus on, my priorities for that day.
Got it.
As far as routines go, I usually work out probably 5-6 days a week at least. I work out in the evenings, so I usually get to the gym about 9:30 at night.
Got it.
I like to read 10 pages every day if I can of, a business book, entrepreneur book, something like that.
Cool.
And then I always write well, not always, but I try to write my goals down every single day as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Outside of that, just kind of trying to manage my tornado of a day.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you mind sharing, you don't have to share all your goals, but do you mind sharing a couple of your goals with the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
For me, I'm just trying to, the biggest thing that I'm doing different right now is everyone always writes their goals for the year, right?
Yeah.
Their New Year's goals. So the last few years, I would write my goals like in November, so then I could start getting a game plan and executing on that in November and December, so that first quarter, hopefully my productivity and my actions are starting to pay off, you know, so I'm on track for those goals.
Yep.
But now I'm just looking at 90 days. Like I'm just focused on the next 90 days and you know, what I want to work on.
Got
so
it.
our biggest thing now, right now, really my biggest thing is systems and people, because I'm spread so thin that I'm not doing the core things that I'm best at that are really going to move the needle and drive our business forward.
Right.
So systems and people, like I mentioned earlier, is a big thing I'm focused on right now, and just fine tuning that so we can be a little more streamlined. We're in the process of, we're going to be starting, you know, our own real estate and mortgage companies, brokers
Nice.
and stuff. It's just a natural progression there. It'll
Yep.
be a little better for us. And I want to double our real estate portfolio on the rental side and start doing some commercial deals. So we got 206 units under contract right now in
That's
Missouri.
fantastic.
That we should be closing on as long as everything checks out there. So just trying to do more and get better is kind of my, you know, I'm on an endless pursuit to chase my potential.
Yeah.
And then I've really enjoyed, you know, the last like 2-3 years I've been going heavy on the Facebook and the videos and,
Yep.
you know, getting opportunities like we're doing right now. And for Slaria, I took on the monthly skills training. So I like, I don't want to say public speaking, but I like providing value, and I really enjoy getting the messages and people saying, hey, you know, inspire me, or that helped me, or whatever. So, you know, maybe go some sort of direction with that too. I really enjoy that as well.
Awesome, awesome. Let's talk about mindset for a minute here. You and I chatted about mindset, how you like to study, I like to study it. To me, mindset's like a muscle. If you don't work it out, it becomes weak.
100%.
Yeah. And so if you could share with the listeners some mindset tips that you feel would be beneficial for them.
I think writing your goals down every day is important, because then it's a constant reminder of, you know, like it's just keeping you on target and on track, right? But you gotta have goals that you're emotionally committed to, also, not just stuff you're writing down on paper.
Right.
Another thing too is your environment. You know, you have to put yourself and create an environment for yourself that's gonna serve you and you know, allow you to grow. So that's, you know, your friends, what you're reading, what you're studying, what you're watching on TV or just not watching TV.
Yep.
So really trying to control your environment to put you in a position to grow and to succeed, you know. So if, you know, you got to cut friends out, you got to cut family out sometimes, you got to quit watching TV, you know, all the negative stuff on social media, especially everything the last 6 months going on.
Jeez.
So I really try to control my environment, and I like to be around people that bring me up. And not only in business, but different things. You know, I want to be around people that naturally are going to pull me up and make me better by being around them and in their presence. So that's the biggest thing on mindset. But then also just one thing that I've really focused on too, especially in real estate, is, you know, a lot of stuff goes wrong, and there's just a lot of crisis management and just a lot of stuff that you get hit with, and you gotta. So I've been trying to collapse the time of the recovery time on that. So instead of being mad, like the driveway, instead of being upset, okay, I have a house on the market, I got hard money loan on this thing, like my driveway's gone, it is what it is, I'm not going to be mad for a week, I'm just going to get started on getting a new driveway in place. So in 2 days we're pouring a new driveway. So just really trying to control your environment.
Absolutely.
Is the biggest thing, I think.
Absolutely. You know, I talk about what is your normal, what is your norm, right? And I think there was a study that they did, I can't remember what university did a study, but they basically studied a bunch of successful people, financially successful people, to be clear. And they did a survey to kind of see what was the commonality of these individuals, what made all these people successful. And believe it or not, the biggest factor that they discovered that will predict if a child's going to grow up to be financially wealthy is if their parents were financially wealthy. So all of the financially wealthy people they interviewed already came from financially wealthy upbringings. There were some that weren't, and they became wealthy. And so I always talk about what's your normal. If it's normal, if all you've ever known was financial success, then you don't know how to be poor, because your parents were already bringing you up that way. And if you were born hypothetically financially challenged, then it's very difficult to know how to be wealthy, right? And so what is your norm? And so I realized for me, years and years and years ago, when I started investing in real estate, by hanging out with the SOI, my sphere of influence, of people who were already successfully flipping, seeing what their normal day looked like, it started to change my mindset to, because I was a hairstylist before I became, you know, I could cut people's hair, but renovate a home was a whole different ballgame. But I one day realized by my mindset changing that, oh, it is normal to pay cash for a house in 2 days with hard money,
Yeah.
right? That is normal, because I grew up with that not being normal, right? Like finding money on a Saturday to fund Sunday
Well,
or Monday.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know? Or you only know what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I love how you say sometimes you have to change your friends, sometimes you have to change your family. You're not forgetting them, but if that's not their norm, their norm is not where you want to be, you got to go find sometimes a new set of SOI, sphere of
The
influence.
reality is your dreams and goals aren't going to show up on your door. Like if you're just waiting for them, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it takes so much just to be in the game and have a shot at accomplishing your goals or dreams, or you want to get into flipping. Just finding a deal takes so much work.
Yes.
So I mean, even if you're going all out, you're putting the time in, you're putting the effort in, you're putting the work in, the study in. You still gotta. I mean, it's still hard because you're still competing against the people who are. That's their normal. That's what they do every day.
Right.
So yeah, I think it starts with your desire. Like, what do you really want?
Yeah.
You know? And if you want it, you're gonna take the steps and do the things to get what you want because you have that emotional attachment to it. It's that burning desire that we talk about. But another thing with I'm reading this book right now. It's called "It Takes What It Takes," and the author's Trevor something, but he's a sports coach. He coaches with like Alabama football and all these different places. But he talks about neutral thinking, and it's basically the concept is positive thinking is great, but negative thinking is actually 7 times more detrimental, or like negative thoughts are 7 times more powerful than positive ones.
Yes.
So he talks about just getting to neutral. So if you're in a situation, like it's okay to acknowledge it and it is what it is, but just get to neutral. Get out of reverse, just get to neutral and kind of like find stable ground and then find a game plan to move forward. And that's something that I've really been focusing on.
Love it. Love it. Excellent. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. How can people get in touch with you if they wanted to reach out?
Facebook and Instagram. I'm doing stories every day. If you want to follow around day in the life or whatever.
Yep.
So on Instagram, I'm Michael.Burns, Burns with a Z. And then on Facebook, I think it's like Mr. Michael Burns or something like that.
Perfect.
But type my name in, you'll see me with a Burns team hoodie on and a hat on, and
that's right.
That's my uniform.
Yep. I love it. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, man, and hopefully the listeners got some value, and if there's anything I can ever do to help with, let me know.
I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, you've been listening to K-Talk Radio 1640 AM, the show Utah Home Sweet Home. I hope all of you have a spectacular rest of the weekend.